Hi everybody, today we're talking about the 4 different posture types, how they're different and how they compare from one to the other. What are the true causes behind these posture types and what types of symptoms do they cause? So let's get started. The first body type is commonly referred to as the anterior pelvic tilt. It's also called the military posture. I like to refer to it as the anterior scapular plane. And this is because, as you can see from your screen, the shoulders are in front of the glutes. And what ends up happening, the curve at the level of the lower back becomes accentuated. So what's going to end up happening with this posture type is that we're going to end up wasting a lot of energy. This is commonly referred to as energy leaks. And this is simply because of the fact that our upper body is located in front in comparison to our lower body. So we're solely relying on our back muscles to hold us upright. So in other words, we have to develop postural strategies to prevent us from moving forward, and that comes at a cost, that cost being energy expenditure. So as far as the symptoms are concerned, lower back pain will probably be the first area where you will feel pain with this type of posture. But because your center of gravity is also being pushed forward, you may also have gripping toes, circulation problems, tender calves, but you may also have knee pain and hip pain. Now, because our foot has a direct impact on our lower body and has the ability to modify the movement of our greater trochanter, which fits right into the socket of our hip, then that can have a direct impact on our entire spinal cord. So because of this reality, the foot also contributes to the types of sagittal planes or the types of postures that we see on a daily basis. And the type of foot that is associated specifically to an anterior scapular plane is a mixed foot. And you can see this because the weight-bearing surfaces of the left foot in comparison to the right foot are opposite to one another. And very often what you'll see is that one foot will pronate, whereas the other one will supinate. So this type of foot posture, a mixed foot, is linked to an anterior scapular plane. Next, we have the flat back, also referred to as rounded shoulders. This is when there is very little or no curves at all at the level of the thoracic spine or at the level of the lumbar spine. Pain is usually felt anywhere along the spinal cord, and the foot posture that contributes to this type of posture is the supinated foot. This is when the pressure is more on the lateral border of both feet, and very often that pressure is also asymmetrical. Now, because the foot affects the movement of the lower body, you may also have a condition called bow-leggedness, which in this case, anything with an arch support will worsen this condition. So you may also have knee pain. The knee pain will be felt medially. You may also have a restricted hip mobility or range of motion. Next, we have the posterior scapular plane, which is when your glutes move forward in comparison to your upper body. And because of this reality, this can create a lot of pain at the level of the lower back, at the level of the upper back, in the frontal plane. This can also create a condition called knocked knees, plantar fasciitis. You may also have hyperextended knees when you're standing in an upright posture, limited shoulder flexion bilaterally. And the foot that is contributing to this type of posture is the true flat foot. It's very possible to have an asymmetrical flat foot, which will create further problems down the line. The posterior scapular plane can also be referred to as the swayback posture, which is when we see a neutral or posterior pelvic tilt. Last but not least, the forward head posture. Another common myth is that this type of posture develops through texting, but in actuality, what causes forward head displacement is the position of the lower jaw. Typically a class 2 occlusion, which is when the lower jaw is pushed back in comparison to the maxillary, and the movement of the head work in opposite to the movement of the mandible. So with this type of posture, you may have upper neck pain, tight jaws, tight neck, migraines, cervical degeneration, lower back pain, and limited shoulder flexion. The type of foot posture that affects this condition can either be a mixed foot, a pronated foot, or a supinated foot. All right, so as a recap, there are 4 posture types. The first one is the most common one. It represents 72% and it is called the anterior scapular plane. This type of posture is usually linked to a mixed foot. The pain is usually felt at the level of the lower back, but there can be many other symptoms associated to this type of posture. The next posture type is the flat back. This is when pain will be felt either at the level of the knee or at the level of the entire spinal column. The curves in the spinal cord are diminished, and this is what can cause pain at any level. And the type of foot that is associated to this type of posture is the supinated foot. Keep in mind that the supination of the foot can also be asymmetrical. Next is the swayback posture. This is when the lower body passes in front of the upper body. The type of foot that is associated to this posture is the flat foot. When the midfoot collapses, a condition called hallux toes can develop as the big toe is no longer capable of performing the takeoff action during the gait cycle. The last posture type is the forward head posture. This posture type is linked to the development of the jaw. So in other words, the position of your lower jaw on your maxillary will influence the tension of your neck. A class 2 occlusion is something that's very common. At least 85% of us have a class 2 occlusion. This is when there is a lack of posterior vertical dimension, when the condyle actually moves up and back, the head moves forward. This condition can create lower back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, and pain at different areas of the body. You may also find that you have pain specifically when you wake up in the morning. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what type of posture you think that you have. And don't forget to subscribe and like our channel.